Hello everyone, this is Andy Savvy. This is going to be my second, recording in my series of things every woman should know. Some of the topics come from my book 10 by 25, the top 10 things every woman should know and understand by the time she's 25, and others are just topics I want to explore and discuss. So if you're interested, you're more than welcome to look for the book when it comes out later this year, or to email me at asavvy@andysavvy.com. The topic for today is perfection, people-pleasing, and other lies about success. To be honest, I really think that there's this invisible list of lies that people tell themselves to keep them from growing up, being more successful, and being more accountable. And whenever they find themselves in situations when someone questions it, they go to this big list in their mind, they find a lie that fits, and then they repeat it to other people around them. And if it's not a lie they tell, then it's this facade that they put up that gives people the impression that they're not really one of these people because, everything about them, their life, their being is perfect or points to the contrary. But in either case, their actions that are being carried out are forms of people-pleasing. People-pleasing serves no purpose to the pleaser, and it does nothing but stunt their growth financially, emotionally, professionally, and personally. There are three basic pitfalls to the facade of being a perfectionist or to being a people pleaser. The first is really that you end up having an underdeveloped self-esteem. Now, when you're always reaching for perfection or always telling people, well, I'm a perfectionist, without allowing for the natural progression of your own understanding, your knowledge about something, or even your successes, like saying in so many ways that it's not good enough to just be you. The only thing I really notice about people who want to be perfect is that they're always so worried and distraught over maintaining that perfect persona that they lose touch with reality and they want to keep this pretense going. And the minute they come in second place, get a B instead of an A, or get overlooked for some opportunity, they're beating themselves up and looking for a new way to torture their soul to get back on top. Now, there's nothing wrong with being the best if that's what you are or who you are naturally in any given situation, but sometimes you're not. And I guess if you just have a habit of not allowing yourself to let it go and moving on, and doing that on a regular basis, then you subconsciously build your self-esteem around things, experiences, people, or just some things in your life, as opposed to really loving yourself for who you are without those things. The second thing that usually happens is there's a loss of personal identity. Now, the great thing about being you is that no one else in the world has been shaped, influenced, taught, or developed in the unique way that you have. Nobody had your parents, went to your exact school, met all of the same people in your life, even those you met at the coffee shop. Nobody else has the experience of what it is like to be human for you. So while there are times where you may meet or see other people and you share their opinions, their likes, and some of their dislikes on things, you're not going to agree on every single thing. You're not always going to have the same perspective, and that's fine because a part of your perspective is your identity. The one that is designed and developed especially for you, by you. And allowing yourself to deny your opinion, your thoughts or beliefs, in essence, forces you to deny your identity and your existence altogether, and the experiences that have formed it. So when you submit your thoughts to please someone or your opinion to please someone, it's like you take a piece of yourself, packaged it in a pretty box, and sent it out into the world without a destination, which means that you're kind of giving a part of yourself away emotionally, and you can't get it back. It's not going to come back to you by the efforts of anyone else because you're the one that sent it out into the world. And, the last thing, and, I'm not certain if it's really the most dangerous of the three, but I have to probably say that it is. You may differ on this, but it's becoming dependent on the positive reinforcement from other people, and that's usually what people pleasers end up needing, or perfectionists end up needing at the end of all of this. After falling into the pitfall of the first two things that I mentioned, if you fall victim into the third and final pitfall, it could be, I guess, more detrimental to you long term. What you find as you grow up or advance in life is that there's going to be fewer and fewer people to pat you on the back. There's going to be fewer people who truly know who you are, outside of your accomplishments, and fewer that are going to keep congratulating on you for being you. If your persona is to be perfect, and so you have this idea that you always have to be perfect and people have to acknowledge your perfection, you then become an emotional slave to the thoughts that other people have about you. And you end up forming this cycle of always needing to have the approval of others. I mean, seriously, what is a perfectionist without somebody to see that they're perfect, or a people pleaser without someone to please, their shells? Now, clearly, the bad thing about being a shell for you is that you have no substance, but perhaps a bigger problem for the people around you is that they see you functioning as a regular person and can't see that your insides are empty, and therefore they don't do anything to help you out. Certainly if I saw a human walking around with no flesh, but I saw all of their insides, I know immediately that there was something wrong with them. But that's not how life works, and it's harder to spot somebody with these deficiencies. So most often, we often really overlook them within ourselves. They become habits, they become a part of our being, these lies, this people-pleasing, this facade of perfectionism, because we don't acknowledge them or assume that they're really strong, deeply rooted within us, and we don't see them as a problem, and so the problems never really get dealt with. There are probably a few people that acknowledge that there's an issue and they do want to form new habits, and that's why I'm here. But first, before you can really kind of kick this or really kind of start your journey on it, you need to be of the understanding that, you have to be completely independent of the thoughts of other people. You and your self-esteem must be completely independent of the positive and negative thoughts of others. So whether somebody thinks something great about you or bad about you, you have to treat both of their thoughts the same, in that they don't matter nearly as much as yours. Yours is the only one that matters. Once you understand and internalize that, you can move forward. The first thing you need to do is make a list of triggers. A trigger is a person, skill, opportunity, job, whatever, that forces you to always be this perfectionist or to always people please to survive in. You need to rank them from 1 to 5, 1 being the biggest trigger, 5 being the smallest. Then, after you do that, you need to choose 2 on the list and eliminate them altogether. I know you may not be able to leave your job, so I'm going to be realistic. Give yourself about 6 months time frame to eliminate those things. The last thing, you need to stay away from people, sometimes even your parents, that force you to fall into this pattern, and give yourself time to recreate your own thoughts, your own opinions, feelings, to a point where you can clearly identify them and articulate them in any situation, and being able to stand by it. I think you should repeat this at least once a year. If you find yourself relapsing all the time, you need to give yourself more time away from other people. It's just that simple. You need to be able to be completely confident in who you are and rebuild your self-esteem for your own sake by, your own experiences and your own true thoughts. I want you to feel good about being yourself, whether or not you're perfect, and I want you to really be confident in whatever person you really are, so that you can really start to live, grow, thrive, and really contribute to your life more fully. If you want to email me, you can at asavvy@andysavvy.com. That's ANDIESAVVY.